Hello, welcome to Football-Oranje, your home of Dutch football in the English language. I'm Michael Statham, and today I'm joined by two special guests. We've got Johan, who is a final podcaster. We'll let Johan introduce himself and his work in just a moment. And we've got Euro expert Alex here to speak about the Roma side, because today we're talking about Roma versus Feyenoord in the Europa Conference League final. Feyenoord back in a European major final for the first time since 2001, if I'm not mistaken, Johan. 2002. First fat
20 years ago.
The anniversary. Let's see whether Feyenoord can lift the first European trophy since then. Johan, do you want to introduce your work? Maybe there are some Feyenoord fans watching that don't know what you do. Unlikely, but you never know. And then, how are you feeling about the final?
Well, like you said, I'm Johan. I make a podcast about Feyenoord. We make 2 shows a week, every Monday and every Thursday night. We record a podcast. There's so much to talk about when you talk about Feyenoord. So we got lots of stuff to talk about every time. And how's the feeling? The feeling has been great. This season has been such tremendous. We've been doing so well. Nobody really expected us to do this well. So this is a really good season, and we're really excited to go to the final on Wednesday.
And it must feel extra nice, the fact that PSV got knocked out, Ajax are out of Europe as well. It's all on Feyenoord, which is a nice change. And I'll tell you what, this just feels like there's something extra whenever Feyenoord play into Kuip. I know that the final won't be there, but when they're on a European run, there's no Dutch team quite like Feyenoord for me.
Yeah, of course, I agree. It's so good that Ajax always has the big mouth. They always try to brag about how great they are in Europe, and of course they were in the final 4 years ago when they lost against Jose Mourinho team, Manchester United, of course. But now Feyenoord is there, and well, we're very kind of it. We're very happy about it, because when you see which opponents we played, they were quite good. We beat Slavia Prague, we beat Olympique Marseille, we beat Union Berlin. So those are quite good teams. Even though the competition is new and the competition is not that fancy as the Champions League or even the Europa League, but like I said, the group stage we were in, and also the path we came across when we had the knockout phase, we beat some really good teams. So we're really liking our European campaign, and of course it always helps when we play in the Kuip. It's always sold out. There's such a buzz. Everybody is happy to be there, and we're not scared of anybody. Even if Manchester City comes along or Bayern Munich comes along, we still think we can beat them at our own ground. So it's a pity that the final is not in the Kuip. But hey, we're pretty sure we're going to be loud, and we're going to be winning the final next Wednesday.
And what a run that they had. What a run that Feyenoord have been on to get this far. Whereas Roma, it's been a bit higgledy-piggledy on their way through. But the whole time, I think you'd say that they were one of the favourites to win this competition. Another team, though, that Feyenoord, if they can beat a team like Marseille, why can't they beat a team like Roma? A team that's not one of the leading lights in one of the big 5 leagues in Europe. That's what this competition has been about. So, Alex, tell us about Roma. Are they very typically a Jose Mourinho side?
No, that's the interesting thing. So they started this season like a Mourinho side, because they were playing the 4-2-3-1 classic Mourinho that he's always stuck with. And something quite interesting happened after the results sort of dived in November, December. He changed to a 3 at the back system. He's used it for over, I think, 40% of Serie A games this year. So Mourinho's actually kind of shown a bit of adaptation. So it's not quite as classic as you'd say. I would say it's actually quite similar to the same Roma side that I was on this channel previewing last year, when hopefully this might make Johan smile as well, especially if you beat him, when Ajax were defeated by Roma. That was the tale of the bad keepers, when Ajax's backup keeper, I think, spilled a free kick. Roma's keeper, Paul Lopez, was horrific as well. The Roma team we have at the moment, I think Mourinho's worked on those things, which was back then a counter-attacking team that's quite dominant in attack, as well, with some very good players like Tammy Abraham, which we'll probably touch on. And also a defence that I think Mourinho has made a bit more solid. I think they've conceded around 42 goals, I believe, this year, or 41 goals this season, compared to over 50 last year. But at the same time, they're definitely still able to be got at. And I mean, we touched on Roma's route to the final. We've seen that they can be got at. They've lost twice to Bodo Glimt. Obviously, that famous 6-1. And you should not knock Bodo Glimt because they're a really good team. But I think Leicester was like the first proper team that they faced, in my opinion, and they squeezed past them, and they could have still lost that game. So I think this is quite a vulnerable side that's not 100% Jose Mourinho.
It feels like after watching Feyenoord against Marseille, that 0-0 draw, Marseille were all over them. Feyenoord's defensive performance was entertaining, but also probably very nail-biting for any Feyenoord fans. And I think Feyenoord, whilst they're a really good and exciting team, have used their home form without the competition to get this far. I know that Roma were got at by Vitesse when they played them, and we've seen that they as you say, Alex, they can be got at. But there's part of me that thinks for a final, they're going to turn up. Mourinho's experience is going to count. And it could end up being a bit of a damp squib if Roma can get a goal in early. Can finals still create those chances? I don't know if you want to jump in on this, but that would be my worry. That it feels as though Roma can just get the edge on final. They've got a bit more experience, and it will be an easy final in a way. Is that possible?
I should probably set up Johan for a perfect answer on this, because we'll say Roma defending, really there is kind of two types. They do actually quite like to press fairly high, and that's sort of been their undoing at times, because they'll press their midfielders quite high, sort of like Leeds in the sense it's man to man, which means there's a lot of space that's left between their midfield and their defence. And that's why in a lot of Roma games, I think it was in that Vitesse game when Openda played someone through, where you have their three centre-backs who are backtracking and backtracking. They have no idea what to do. They're just like trying to sort of damage control, basically. And it's quite terrifying to watch. But you also do get the side of Roma where if you give them time, they can get into like a sort of a five at the back deep block system and just force teams wide. I think this is why I wanted to put it in, because I think, Michael, you've said to me before how Feyenoord can struggle against a deep block. But if you think Feyenoord can catch Roma before they sort of retreat properly, then maybe they've got a chance.
It's gonna be a tactical game, of course. Arne Slot is also a coach who likes to press up high. If you look at the home game against Marseille, I think we shocked them. I think they were expecting us to press, but not that high. So especially the first half, we could have been up by like 3 or 4-0 before we made some mistakes, and it was 2-2 at halftime. But I think also Mourinho is good at adapting, good at looking at the opponent. Like you said, the game against Ajax last year against, of course, and also 4 years ago when he beat Ajax in the final for the Europa League when he was coaching Manchester United. So we're a little bit scared of Mourinho because he's been a tactical genius. But also Sampaoli, the coach of Marseille, has been said to be that. But if you look at the two matches, I think Arne Slot overclassed the Marseille coach. So it's going to be a very interesting game. Our front line, especially on the wings, we got Reece Nelson, we got on loan from Arsenal. And on the other side, we got Sinisterra, probably our best player. Those two players are very fast and are also good at counter-attacking. So even if they try to press up high and give us a lot of space behind the defenders, we have the midfielders who can launch the wingers, and maybe we can hurt them like we did against Marseille at the home game. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting who's gonna knock the first punch. I hope it's going to be Feyenoord. I think it's going to be Feyenoord. I know Arne Slot. He's not scared. He's not scared at all, even though he has a tremendous respect for the opponent coach. But I think he still likes our chances, and he still likes to play with the intensity and the same tactical way we always do. So we're going to see how it ends up.
Well, I mean, you've got these great players with Sinisterra. Nelson's coming into his own now. He's much more productive. And Dessa still is banging in the goals, which is taking everyone by surprise, especially with Till and Linson, the goals drying up a little bit. But he's taken on that mantle. And people have spoken a lot about Kutcher midfield. He's also come into his own this season and been much more impressive. Malacia, whilst he hasn't had the best games just recently, left back, still a phenomenal talent. Trauner has been immense at centre back. But I tell you what makes me scared. Justin Bilo has been injured, obviously, for a little while now. And they've made it to the final with Marciano in goal. But the backup goalkeeper is not the best goalkeeper. And there was even a concern that he might have missed the final. But I don't think that's going to happen now, is it, Johan?
No, but don't talk, don't say that out loud, because Mourinho doesn't have to know this. But the expectation that Bilo is gonna play. He's been practicing
totally
fully.
slipped under my radar.
No, it's not a problem. Feyenoord went on a training camp in Portugal, and the good news was Bilo, and also Malacia, who was injured the last couple of weeks, and nobody was sure if he was going to play, our left wing defender.
Yeah.
So everybody was like, okay, we basically need Malacia, but we, of course, we also hope to have Bilo. Nobody expected Bilo to play, but now he's been practicing like full gear. And everybody's now is expecting, because if you look at the social media from Feyenoord, they like to put in all the pictures they put in Bilo, who basically doesn't looks healthy at all, fully healthy. So that's a big relief for us, because Marciano, like you said, has not been doing that great. He had a couple of good games, especially against Marseille in the away game. He was very good, the home game as well. But he's also had a couple of games in which we were scared, and we were like, "Oh my God, this guy is not a certainty at the back." And of course, you hope to have a goalkeeper who doesn't make stupid mistakes, and he's been making too many mistakes. So hopefully, Bilo is playing. That's a great extra weapon for us, and we're gonna see. But I'm pretty sure he's gonna play.
I was gonna say I'd be making sure my best keeper plays. Well, it's not necessarily like a case of, a worst keeper's going to let in more goals, but every goal that Tammy Abraham has scored in the league this season, he scored 17 and 9 in this competition. They've all come from inside the box, and they've consistently been like rebounds or snatching onto spills. So you definitely want a keeper in goal who's going to either push the ball away or just avoid spilling it into the goal mouth. Because, if you have a keeper who does that, they're going to get punished by Tammy Abraham, I reckon.
Yeah, but
Tammy Abraham against...
Bilo is such a good goalkeeper. He became the first Dutch goalkeeper of the national team. The unfortunate thing, he's very injury prone. He's been injured quite a lot in his career. He hasn't been playing for the last 2-3 months. So that's the only worry we have, just to appear after such a long time of absence in a big game like this. How is he going to be? But he's with his feet, he's very good passing the ball, and Marciano's not good at that part of the game. And he's also he's not scared to get out of his goal and to assist his defenders when we have a lot of space in the back. And Marciano is not very good at that part either. So Bilo is basically way better suited for the way Arne Slot wants to play. So even if he's not 100%, but let's say 85%, we're pretty sure he's still a better goalkeeper than Marciano. Yeah, even though he had some good games as well, but Bilo is clearly the better keeper of the two of them.
He's a phenomenal talent, Bilo. I can't wait to see him really take on the #1 jersey for the Dutch national team too. You mentioned Tammy Abraham, Alex. Against Marcos Senesi and Gunnar Trauner, is that pace going to be concerning for Feyenoord?
I wouldn't say necessarily the pace. I think it's more, he's going to be quite a physical match now. I think in Italy, Mourinho's really encouraged him. He spoke about how Mourinho's kind of made him feel special, made him one of the best in the world. And I think that's confidence has flowed into how he handles himself on the pitch. Like you can see him now backing into defenders that really trying to barge them out of the way. And it might not just be the pace that catches the defender off guard, but I think he's going to be quite a handful for any defender. And kind of like I was touching on before, you just can't let him get out of your sight. Like he got goals in both Leicester legs. He got the winner with a header from a corner that was thumping goal. And like I said, every goal he scored in the league has been from inside the box. It's just consistently like in the 6-yard box and always just latching on and scoring his goals, so that we'll probably get labelled tapping merchants online, but it is a result of a really smart players making smart movements. So they're just going to have to be keeping on to him, high alert, and on every sort of aspect of his play.
Anyone else that Roma could use as like their main best players?
Well, I think that's a very good time to introduce a pop quiz for Michael and Johan, which former Feyenoord player is going to be lining up against you?
It's got to be one for Johan.
Sorry?
It's the easy one, of course.
Rick Karsdorp,
Rick
yes.
Karsdorp, yes. He's a
13 years at Feyenoord, of course. And he hasn't done as well this season on the surface as he did last season. Last year, he got 6 assists in the league, I think 4 goals as well from right wing back. And he started at right back this season when Mourinho was playing the 4 at the back. Now he's been pushed back into his home at right wing back, and he's created 10 big chances in the league, which I think is the most in the Roma side, maybe just behind Lorenzo Pellegrini. And yeah, he's quite a weapon going down that right flank. So I think that's going to be quite a task for Malacia to follow him. The other one, of course, I mentioned Lorenzo Pellegrini. He scored 3 free kicks this season, so make sure you don't give anything away too close to your goal, because he will be on it and probably getting it straight on target. He scored a great free kick in the derby versus Lazio as well, so kind of shows he's ready for the big occasion too.
How are Roma feeling as on the whole, Alex, with Mourinho just in general? You know how it can sometimes go a bit wrong, go a bit foul, and there have been some poor moments for them this season. But did you say that they're on the ascendancy again now?
I think they're on the ascendancy, and even if you go into the numbers or you come up with a plan to why they're not, I don't think Roma fans are going to listen. They adore him. He's an icon at the moment. I think that is what helps him. It's quite an interesting thing about Italian football that I think is worth mentioning. Obviously, in the Premier League, he was mocked quite often, especially in his last spell with Spurs and United. Lots of stories of dressing room discontent, players not being happy. The culture in Italy, I think, suits Mourinho more because players essentially do what they're told. Like, that's where the whole idea of, the retreats thing, where Italian teams will go on a retreat. They'll go into their training camp for like 3 or 4 days, stay with each other. And it's like, basically, it's like our military stuff, it almost sounds like. There's an acceptance of that sort of thing. And I think it's helped Mourinho, him not being questioned as much. And also him being a bit more flexible. I think he has had a sort of a moment this year to try and reflect on his tactics and try and improve. There is definitely room to improve, though. Still, like I said, that defence I'm not convinced by. I think you can easily get at it. But I think Roma is quite behind him. I think Italian football fans still rate Mourinho as one of the best coaches in the world.
I mean, that is great because he is such a football brain, isn't he? He has got some absolute talent to him. But yeah, you are right. He got mocked towards the end of his time in England. Again, that's kind of promising for Feyenoord, though, that this could be a bit more of an open game than I expected. And I know from having watched Vitesse play Roma already twice this season that it really could be Feyenoord's day. Feyenoord, of course, a level above what Vitesse can offer. And some of the special players that they've got at the moment. Yeah, I've got to ask you, how many do you think you're really going to keep this summer? I'm guessing it doesn't depend on you winning this European competition. You're going to be in the Europa League next season, and you're going to hopefully be going for the title as well. I'm wondering if that makes difference to some of the players. That confidence that Arne Slot's still there, and if most of the players can stay at the club, they've got a genuine chance of overhauling Ajax. Yeah,
there's a lot of confidence at the moment that we can compete with Ajax. Of course, everything depends on what this summer is gonna be. There's a lot of players that are gonna be on the radars of bigger European teams. We named a couple of them already. Sinisterra is probably the main focus. He is a left winger. He's been creating chances. He's been scoring goals this season as well. He's been assisting goals. He's such a tremendous, and he's only 22. So this guy is definitely on the radar of bigger teams. Kukçu is probably our best player, if I'm going to be honest. The turnaround he had last season, like you already said, Michael, he was okay. He was still young, but he had some good games, but also a lot of disappointing games. Everybody saw his talent, but he didn't perform every week. And this season, Arne Slot made him important. He was an attacking midfielder before. And Arne Slot made him a defensive midfielder, and he's been so good at that role. In interviews, he's been crediting a Slot as well. That he said, I wasn't fit enough to play full games last couple of seasons, and this season Arne Slot opened my eyes, and now I'm fit as hell. So he's been very good, and he's also 21. So he's, like I said, he's also going to be on the radar of bigger teams. Lots of Italian teams. There's already been rumored that he's moving to Roma after the season. even though he said that's not true. And then, of course, Malacia, he's already been linked with Manchester United, of course, with Erik ten Hag going there, the left wing defender who's also 22. So he's a young talent. And we got Marcos Senesi, a central left defender, who is a little bit older, but he's been called up to the Argentinian national team for the first time now. And he's also a player that is going to be on the radar of bigger teams. So our technical director, Frank Arnesen, said only 2 are going to leave, maximum. Of course, that's also a way to put up the prices if any team is interested. So they have to be record-selling prices. But last season, Frank Arnesen and Arne Slot brought in a couple of guys nobody knew. Garner Trauner, of course, he came from Austria. Frederik Uisnes, a midfielder from Norway, we got for like 700,000 euros, which is a bargain. Cyril Dessers was on a loan deal from Belgium. Guus Til. So we have a lot of confidence that some players are going to leave for sure. I'm sure they're going to leave, like Malacia and also probably one of Kukçu or Sinister, or maybe both of them, Senesi probably as well. But I'm pretty sure the scouts have lists already ready to replace those guys. But it would be a pity, because I think if we can keep most of the team, we can compete with Ajax and also PSV. But it all depends on who's going to be sold and who's going to be brought in to replace those guys.
Yeah, some brilliant players who could really bring some big fees to Feyenoord, to the likes of what we've seen Ajax receive, and that money could be transformative for the club. And I think if they can sell them this summer, then I don't think it's going to serve the club very well. But keeping them another year and potentially challenging at the top of the table, it's driving the price up even more, isn't it? Yeah, that kind of cycle.
Even though Feyenoord has a history of not selling at the right price, at the right time, I should say. Feyenoord has been has had a lot of talented players, and everybody thought, all right, after the European Championship, this player is going to be sold for so much more. Nicolai Jurgens is probably the best example. He was rumored to go to Newcastle United in 2017. I think they did an offer for like 17 or 18 million euros, and we said no. I think we're going to get more of him. Well, basically last summer we released him on a free deal to go to Turkey. So Feyenoord has not been doing well at selling at the proper time. So hopefully Frank Arnesen is good at making the judgment if they're still going to get more, or maybe this is the right time to sell. But
you need a bit more RZ Alkmaar in you.
Sorry?
You need a bit more RZ Alkmaar in you.
Yeah.
When Tottenham offered 18 mil for Vincent Janssen, they went, yeah, all right.
We're kind of jealous on that part of AZ, who's a smaller team, has a lot of smaller fan base. But if you look at their highest selling players, they've been doing so much better than Feyenoord. Our record is still Dirk Kuyt, who went to Liverpool, I think, in 2004, 2005, something like that.
Oh my God, really? How much was that for?
17 million, I guess, 16 or 17 million. And behind that is Rick Karsdorp, who went to Roma. So that's already 6 years ago. So we have to do better. Everybody is quite certain that we're gonna beat the selling record this summer.
Definitely.
Either Sinisterra or Kukçu or Malacia as well. They should be record-breaking players. But like I said, as a fan, you hope to keep all of them and be stronger next year. But we also need the money, because we're not the most strong financial club. So we basically need to sell one or two of those guys to even get better.
And that's okay, because you can replace, for example, Senesi for me. I think he's kind of peaked now, and getting that money for him is important. There's not always a bad thing. Perhaps someone pacey next to him would even improve the back line, or relying upon Geertruida to play there more often. Where do you see him, by the way, smaller side? Do you think he's a centre back or a right back?
If you listen to what he wants to play in the centre. He likes that a little better. But in the Arne Slot system, the right wing defender comes up to the midfield quite a lot, and basically is a playmaker from the midfield, assisting Uisnes and Kukçu on the midfield. So it suits him well, because in the youth he was a striker, and even when he got older, he's been moving to the back. He's the good thing about him, he's way more faster than Trauner and Senesi. Those guys are both not the fastest. That's also a little bit scary for the Wednesday game. They have, of course, like Abraham is quite fast as well. So for the future purpose, I guess it's better to have a faster central defender like Geertruiden. We also got Pedersen, who also a Norwegian signing for 1 million euros, who was very well the first half of the season. Not been doing that well the second half of the season. But I think the future of Geertruiden is going to be at the center defender position. But he's so versatile. He can play left wing defender. He can play on the midfield. He can play at the back. Basically all positions. So he's even when we need to score a goal in the 90th minute, he can play striker because he did that before. Because he's been scoring so many goals. He's very good at finishing before the goal. So he's very versatile, and that's fantastic to have a player like him.
Well, I asked at the beginning of the stream for people, do you think Feyenoord can win the Europa Conference League final? And Gabriel said that yes, they can. And we had another comment coming in that said, don't give any valuable tactics away. Mourinho's watching this stream. You never know. But I need to get your guys' opinion. In fact, before I do, if you're watching and you don't know Football-Oranje, please do subscribe to us. We are Dutch football in the English language. We're having plenty coming up over the next few weeks with the Dutch national team. Hopefully a couple of little surprises in there too. We're hoping to get to Wales for one or two of the games. With your opinions on the final, though, do comment below. Do you think Feyenoord can beat Roma? If so, what will the score be? And I'm going to ask Alex, first of all, what do you think the score will be?
I'm going to go 1-1. It'll go to penalties because that seems to be what everything is doing at the moment. But I also think that I think both teams will score, and I don't think Roma are secure enough to keep a lead, and I don't think Feyenoord are quite good enough to stop Roma scoring one to equalise, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm expecting it to go to penalties, and at that point, oh my goodness, I'll go with Arne Slot and Feyenoord to win on penalties.
Well, it's going to be a heartbreaker, man. I'm not sure if I'm going to survive that. I watched the Rangers game last Wednesday, of course, supporting Giovanni van Bronckhorst as a former coach of Feyenoord and a player of Feyenoord. And I was thinking, oh man, I'm not sure if my heart is gonna last if we have to go to penalty kick. But that also I shouldn't say, because Mourinho, of course, is listening. But Feyenoord and penalty kicks are not the greatest combination this season. So I'm not pretty sure. I'm not really sure if I really like that scenario. So if I have to predict, maybe, or it's gonna be a high scoring game. And it's going to be like 3-2 or something like that. But the scenario I've been saying basically since the Christmas break, because Feyenoord also signed Philip Sandler from Manchester City, and he was injured for such a long time in England as well, but here in Holland. So everybody's like, why has this guy been signed? And it was a joke. It started as a joke, but now I'm really I'm hoping it's going to be the proper situation. I said he's gonna be the scoring, the final scorer of the game against in the final, and now we're in the final. So if I have to predict, it's gonna be 0-0 by the regular time, and then we have to go to extra time, and then in the, let's say, the 114th minute, Philip Sandler is gonna head in a corner kick, and well, he's gonna make the season unforgettable for the rest of our lives. But
I really hope you're right, Johan.
Yeah, no, I like the first scenario better. That like the Marseille game, that we blow away Roma in the first half, and we're leading by 3-0. That's better for my heart and better for everything of all the Feyenoord supporters. But if it doesn't go that way, let's go. Let's make it dramatic and finish it in the final part of the extra time by a goal scorer who nobody's going to be expecting.
My confidence of Feyenoord has gone up so much since Arne Slot has come in. Because of that, I really think that it's going to be a special night for Feyenoord, even if they maybe don't quite win it. They're going to score a goal. They've been so prolific in Europe this season, so many high-scoring games. I mean, if you were to put a bet on this game, another both teams to score would be probably a great idea, because Feyenoord have done so many in Europe. But But yeah, I think 1-1 isn't a bad prediction, Alex. I'm going to go with 2-1 Roma, and then hope that I'm really, really wrong. But I think that when you have someone like Mourinho, someone slightly inexperienced like Slot, little differences like that can just matter. I don't think Feyenoord are going to be overrun, though.
Yeah, there are Rangers parallels of this team that they've overperformed. They've got into this competition final. Maybe they're without their home support, which has also been like vital throughout the run, and they're up against a much more established team. There are some parallels there. So I was tempted to change the Roma winning on pens, but I will, to back Johan, I will stick with Feyenoord.
I like that.
I've got to say though, I felt as though the Europa League final was. I think that will be a lower quality match than this. I think this is going to be a bit more end to end, and I think Feyenoord will give it a go. They'll have their moments, and so will Roma. And I just think that Feyenoord, if they were in Rangers' place playing that final of the Europa League, I think they might have nicked it. I don't know what you guys thought.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. It's tough, to be fair. Maybe, actually. I think Feyenoord are better than Rangers. I mean, Johan's the best one to answer. I mean, who do you think's a better coach, Slot or Giovanni Bronckhorst?
That's even though Giovanni van Bronckhorst has been winning lots of prizes for us, and he helped us winning our first national championship in 18 years. So we're thankful for having him as a coach. But I have to be honest, Arne Slot is the best coach in Holland I've seen in such a long time, and even Erik ten Hag is been doing great as well. So Manchester United fans are probably happy to have him, but I'm quite sure, and well, that's going to be a prediction I'm going to make over here. Arne Slot is going to do better in his career than Erik ten Hag, because especially.
I think that's right, by the way. I really think that's right.
If you look at both matches this season against Ajax, we lost both of them. But the game at the Kuip was terrible. It should have been a draw. Both teams didn't want to lose. That was basically how both teams entered the game. But in Amsterdam, we played without Kukçu, our best player, because he was on suspension, and we were the better team. Unfortunately,
and you had played 3 days before, hadn't you, in Europe, and Ajax had not. So you were winning, and then you just got tired late in the game.
And then we had two Ofir Marciano mistakes who basically got us the loss, because we lost with 3-2, even though we were leading by 2 goals for a long time. So Arne Slot has been such a great coach. He has been doing well at AZ before he came to us. He's young, and the part in which he is way better than Erik ten Hag is his way of communication. He's such a smart guy. He knows what he talks about. He knows how to play with the media, and especially Erik ten Hag. I'm gonna look out for that in England. He's not that good on that part. So my prediction as well. Erik ten Hag is gonna be fired within half a year. I hope so, of course, because I don't like him because he's an Ajax coach. But besides the rivalry we have with Ajax, Erik ten Hag is a good coach, but Arne Slot, I think, is a better coach and has a way brighter future ahead of him.
I think they're both amazing coaches, but yeah, I also agree. Arne Slot in time could do something at a real top club and be a great manager, or he might be a Dutch national team manager one day. So, if you haven't already, please do leave your comments below as to what you think that the score will be. We had some actually comment in thinking that Feyenoord will win 1-0. And that if you look at the Roma matches, they underperformed in almost every first leg. So that's why I think Feyenoord will win, he says, to add to that. So, yeah, give us a like on this video and comment below what you think the final will be like. Thanks, Johan. Thanks, Alex, for joining us. And the season is not over in Football-Oranje, but this final will be, I think, a big spectacle for Dutch football fans to be watching. So, yeah, everyone should tune in. It's going to be good. I think it's going to be very entertaining.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Not one of those boring finals. Anyway, it's bye from us at Football-Oranje. Do subscribe if you're new. Bye.